Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Save Point Podcast. I am Dan, joined by Ryan, and it's been a long time since we actually did this because life happens and shit happens and life happens and shit happens and I guess life happens, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess it's one way to put it.
yeah. No, we've been off for a while. We tend to do this, because like I said, and I'm going to repeat myself, life happens. And but we're back, and 2025, first one in 2025. We're recording this in January, so hopefully we can put these out more frequently. Gotten a little bit better with editing, gotten a little bit better with audio and equipment, and moved around, as you can see, probably from previous videos. Still in the same place, but been able to upgrade some stuff. But welcome. Hopefully your 2025 is starting out relatively good. I have to say, 2024, I think, was a letdown with games. What do you think?
Yes.
There was nothing that really came out.
Nope.
I mean, like, there was stuff that came out,
Well,
but
we had Helldivers.
yeah, I mean,
Helldivers 2 came out.
true. But I mean, are we really going to weigh the whole year in 2024 and saying Helldivers 2 was the best game that came? That was the best that was offered.
I mean, give me something else.
Yeah, I know.
Give me something else. Oh,
but-
Concord came out.
Oh, for a week.
That's what 2024 is going to be most known for. It was the year of Concord.
Are we going to start out with the Concord jokes? I mean, is that going to be running through from now on?
Yes.
It is.
That's not going to be constant, but no.
Is that replacing jiggle physics?
When opportunity arises, like Concord.
Yeah. What their opportunity did arise for about a week. No. Tally one tally. No.
Speaking of Concord, you paid Concord tax on that PS5 Pro.
Oh, shut up. I like my PS5 Pro.
I'm not knocking the system. I'm just saying it costs as much as it did because it's Concord tax.
Yeah. Well, to help me pay for my PlayStation Pro 2 or my PlayStation Pro 2. Yeah, wow, I can't even talk.
They've released the second one already?
They've already released the second one. It's now $900.
They've released 2 of those before another Switch came out.
Yeah. But thank you for joining us. And to help us pay for our equipment and the Concord tax, please subscribe and all of that so we can hit that algorithm. There's going to be a button somewhere. So, but yeah, if you wouldn't mind doing that. Once again, we keep saying that we're going to get into streaming, so we're going to still be on the Twitch stream, the Save Point.
We're going to be figuring out how to stream from your PS3 so we could stream Ultimate Alliance 2.
Yeah, that's going to be a series. So coming out at some point, Ultimate Alliance 2. Ryan and I streaming co-op that. I have a way of doing it, but yeah, that's going to be coming out soon.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, but I think let alone with some games, I think there were some games that came out in 2024 that, I mean, are worth mentioning. I mean, like, you've played the hell out of Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yeah, I played a lot of it. There would be more to talk about if more was put into the game.
Okay, how so?
Let's see. The world in a lot of ways felt lacking. You know, it's still fun, but there could have been more in the world, more, quests. You could say the story's very short. It can sneak up on you real fast because the way the game's designed, you really don't know. If you go through the story, you're going to be in New Game Plus before you, it's going to be really fast. You can skip a lot.
Oh, really?
Because
what about side quests?
The end can just happen like that.
Really?
1 minute you'll be like, okay, you're moving along, and then you hit a certain mission, and all of a sudden it's the end of the game.
Oh, wow.
And there's 2 endings, so if you do the wrong one, you completely miss the special end game with all the special loot.
Interesting.
And special versions of monsters to fight and stuff.
Have you I mean, how close are you to platinum, or are you not even trying to platinum?
I'm still just running around having fun.
Okay.
I just do random stuff in it.
I mean, you're still playing Odyssey, supposedly, too.
Yeah. Sometimes I play Odyssey. The other thing Dragon's Dogma 2 is lacking is monster variety.
I heard that
It's
a lot of rinse repeat.
It's just lacking. It's not even rinse repeat. There's monsters that were in the original that aren't even in 2, and I never even played the original or it's called the Dark Arisen expansion.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't seem like I don't know. It doesn't seem like they put as much into it as they could.
Okay, that makes sense.
And the guy who made it, who's not even with the company anymore, he's talking about this is my vision. Well, this is vision, and I don't know if I want to play that game you're making now away from the company. If this was exactly what you wanted,
yeah,
ugh.
Yeah, I get it. We had a couple others. I will say I did play. Play Black Myth Wukong. I thoroughly enjoyed.
I dabbled in it.
So thoroughly enjoyed that.
You were talking about that. It's not a notable year for games. We completely forgot about Wukong.
Yeah, it's true. But I will say, actually, I did get Wukong for free, kinda. I ended up, I think I said this in one of the last ones. I ended up upgrading to a 4080 Super, RTX 4080 Super, and that actually, when I bought that Wukong came with the game, or came with the graphics card. So yeah, I mean, it looks gorgeous running off of that rig.
That's the thing about Wukong, though; it's just fun.
It is. I think a lot of the kind of like the smaller, some indie stuff.
It was a big year for indie games, I feel, because of how things have been going with AAA, and a lot of people kind of shying away from it.
Yeah,
a lot more people were looking to indie games.
Which this is not really an indie game, but it's kind of a smaller, I think, kind of sleeper hit.
There's also that's just indie, like what would you call AA games are getting a lot more of a highlight too, because people are looking at AAA like,
and some of the AAA games that just came out were just terrible.
They've been lacking.
Well, I have a theory for that, but I'll get into one of the, and like I said, I don't really know if you call it an indie game right now, but I know it's kind of like a sleeper one that not a lot of people really realize. So you remember the Callisto Protocol?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So they came out with a game called Redacted. Same company. It's the same ship that you're on, but you're over the top, kind of like a Diablo. And it's. I know you're not a big fan of roguelikes, but it's basically a roguelike that you run through and you power up. And I think it was $30, and I got it. It's a lot of fun. I got it during the Epic, store free games that they come out with during Christmas. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I mean, I played on my ROG, before I go to bed or whatever like that. I'm just do a couple of rounds, boom, I'm ready to go to sleep. I mean, it's a good, fun. Is it a masterpiece? Absolutely not. But is it a fun roguelike?
So
absolutely.
It's just a fast-paced, high-octane, kill monsters, grab loot.
Basically. Hades 2 came out, which is another roguelike, which is
I know you like Hades.
Hades was very good. Hades 2 is very good. With that, but I think why we're seeing a little bit of the lack in AAA, because I think this was a residual effect from COVID. Like, you realize that all the games that were trying to be developed and all of that, or trying to start to be developed, or in mid-cycle development, and now coming out of COVID 2 years ago, and now here's like, okay, now we got to try to finish these games, and it just doesn't. Now it's just kind of like that. So now that I think that, studios and developers are back, full circle and all of that, I think that now we're going to start to see some of the stuff. So we'll kind of talk, about some of the games coming out. We're going to talk really much about one game that's coming out, that I'm actually surprised that you're interested in.
There's one. It's the only one for 2025 for me. There's one.
Yeah. See, I still have faith that the other one that you want to come out is coming out in 2025.
I don't think it's a 2025 game, man. I think it's going to be 2026, which I have no problem with. Take your time.
So one of the ones that Ryan,
I kind of want it to come out in 2026. I want them to have more time with it.
You do. And the one you're talking about is Phantom Blade Zero.
Yeah. I haven't heard anything about it being a 2025 game. That's why I'm saying 2026. And I hope so. Mm-hmm. Take your time.
Mm-hmm.
It looks awesome. I want to play it. I'll wait.
Yeah. There's one that's coming out that I'm excited about, Crimson Desert. Supposedly it's coming out in 2025.
I've seen that one. That one, visually, I have a problem with that game. It looks like there's way too much going on.
What do you mean?
The screen. Like way too many, like with spells and all of these special effects, like flares, and there's just way too much going on the screen for me. Okay. Hopefully, if they decide to tone that down based off feedback, I'll look into it. But there's I don't know, it's just way too much going on the screen.
I think there's two big games that come to mind when it comes to Xbox that I'm really excited, even though one of them is coming to, one of them is going multi console. but that was from the beginning. And that is
multi-platform.
Multi-platform is the Doom, the Dark Ages.
Doom Dark.
I mean, it looks. Anybody who's a Doom fan is going to play Doom.
It's the Saw Shield game.
Yeah, it's the Saw Shield game. But that came out. I mean, Xbox came out and said right away that that's going to be multi-platform. Phil Spencer said Doom has been on all of them. We're not going to take that away from players. So they're doing that, which is going to kind of tweak me into another thing. And then the other one that I think I'm actually looking forward to it. I don't know if you are, but it is an Xbox exclusive, and that's Fable. The new Fable's coming out, and it actually looks pretty cool. I know you're quiet about it. You were all in Fable. Don't even give me that shit. Well, you were all into Fable.
I was into Fable. I don't even have an Xbox now, so what? Okay,
I know, and
Fable.
You're not going to get one.
I'm not going to buy one for Fable. No.
Yeah, I know you're not. You've been on that non-Xbox train for a while.
I'm not anti-Xbox. I only
don't
need
see
one.
The point in it. Yeah,
I only need one.
And there's nothing that's intriguing you enough to.
No, Game Pass does not intrigue me at all.
Yeah. So
that's the big draw for Xbox.
But I mean, that's the other thing though too, is that you realize that PlayStation, it's not as advertised the way that Game Pass.
They have one too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of games that if you pay the subscription fee,
and I don't even do that. But the big draw for Xbox is it's Game Pass. I got one system. I pay one subscription. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
If something doesn't come out for it, then I don't play it.
Supposedly, what's coming out on PlayStation 2, or also not 2, but also is the what is it? The Indiana Jones, which actually got high reviews right at the end of the year.
Yeah. The one thing that I saw about it, because again, I don't have an Xbox, so I didn't look into it. It's not like I was going to have a chance to play it. The one thing I looked into it, and I know you're a big fan of this guy, the voice of Indiana Jones. Do you know who did it?
Mm-mm.
Troy Baker.
Oh, really? Interesting.
He did so good. Harrison Ford said something about how good he did.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, if I knew he was going to do that good, I would have just done it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was like basically making a joke about the guy showing me up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a high compliment. Getting a compliment about playing Indiana Jones from Harrison Ford.
True, very true.
And Troy Baker's been on fire for years.
Yeah. Speaking of that,
I think he's been both Batman and the Joker at separate points.
Yep. So speaking of Troy Baker, you also have the other game that I know you don't play this, but supposedly it's coming out in 2025. I know there's no release date, and this can always change. I think that this one's going to be delayed into 2026 just because of who it is and who's making it. Is Death Stranding 2?
That game will probably get delayed.
It's Hideo Kojima, and
he takes his time,
which is fine with me. Once again, you're with Phantom Blade Zero. I have no problem with
nobody
Kojima.
cares if developers take their time making a game.
You know what?
We would rather have a game get delayed for 2 years than have Cyberpunk on release.
I agree. I agree. I think,
or that Cyberpunk is an example, not to single them out. There's been so many games
that are just broken.
That are just broken on release. Take your time.
Yeah,
please.
And I think in our our age, I'm going to be 42 this year.
We're not
going to be
38. That's something a younger generation has grown up with. That's something we've had to get used to because we came from a generation where a game had to be basically perfect when it released because there was no updates.
Yeah, you couldn't update
it. Whatever it released, that was it.
That was it. That was what shipped. So
we came from a generation of that.
Yeah.
So what this has kind of been jarring. And you could say there's been an adjustment, but in my mind, there should be no adjustment. Release a working game.
I agree 100%.
Because what it's going to do is it's going to kill one thing that a lot of developers lean on is pre-orders. It's going to kill that because they don't trust you.
Mm-hmm.
I can pre-order your game. Like Witcher, the next Witcher, for example. CD Projekt Red lost a lot of faith with Cyberpunk. How many pre-orders do you think they're going to get compared to how many they would get if Cyberpunk wasn't a shit show?
I am waiting. So now I'll tell you this. They fixed Cyberpunk. It took time, but they fixed it. And now it's a better game right now.
Yes, but I'm talking about when it released and the fact that they had to fix it and had to take the time they took to fix it.
You're very
Is
true.
that going to have an impact on Witcher 4? It could, because it's still the same company.
Once again, I am reserving my thoughts for two things. One, how far are they actually into the development cycle? 2, how is it going to play? If it plays like The Witcher 3, I have all faith in it. Because The Witcher 3 was third person. Cyberpunk was first person.
Which was also a problem the game had.
Yeah, I think Cyberpunk would have been so much better if you were third person.
Mm-hmm.
I really do.
Anything with melee combat benefits from not being first person because you can only do so much with melee and first person.
And I won't lie, when
you can only, even with shooting and using cover and stuff like that.
I won't lie. When I first saw Cyberpunk, I was like, hell yeah, I'm all for this. And then how it looks and the character models that you can see and what you see on screen. And then when they started showing gameplay and I found out it was first person shooter, I was a little hesitant. I'm like,
so was I, but I still wanted to play it.
I still wanted to play it too. Because I mean, I've waited 10 years. I mean, it was announced 10 years, when they finally made the extra announcement that, hey, it's coming out in a year after, or 2 years after that. So I mean, it was a long development cycle. So I was all for it. But yeah, I mean, so I think one of the things with CD Projekt Red, I think is they learned a lot. I mean, if they're smart, they did. And then they're going to realize what they're going to have to do and the mechanics that they're going to have to make sure are working properly, especially for The Witcher 4. So
there's one thing they're going to have to change though, because I didn't play Witcher 3. I dabbled.
Yeah.
You're saying if it plays like Witcher 3, great. They could make everything exactly like Witcher 3, but there's one thing they have to change.
What?
The combat. It was fucking horrendous.
Oh, I love the combat.
It was fucking horrendous. That's what made me stop playing. I was like, I can't go through this entire game.
Well, the other thing too, I think the other thing too that we have to realize with that is that
my warning to them is don't be Bethesda and get stuck in your ways.
Oh yeah, I get it. And
do something with the combat.
So what I'm thinking with this, honestly, my thought with what you're saying with that is The Witcher was developed for the PlayStation 4 and then it just made its way to PlayStation 5. Okay? To me, a lot of these combat schemes and a lot of these movements and all of that, from swinging swords to shooting guns to movement around, has gotten better on the PlayStation 5 and on the Xbox Series X in this generation because of the fact that there's more power to them and you can make it smoother.
There are games I played that came around the same generation as The Witcher 3 that had way better combat.
I mean, you're talking about Batman and all of that, right?
That's the standard bearer.
Yeah.
But there are games that had better sword combat than Witcher even.
So,
hell, the original Assassin's Creed did a better job.
Yeah.
With counter and parry and all that.
Yeah, but I think that you put it into, and I'll take the thing with what Paradox did with this Callisto Protocol. Was redacted.
You played Callisto Protocol?
Yes, I did.
I tried it.
Yeah, I played it. I enjoyed it. The difference is that it's two completely different games, two different completely ways. It's the same setting, but it's two different games, two different ways of playing the game. Cyberpunk and The Witcher are two different ways of playing a game. And I think they did really, really well on the action side of it, third-party action, compared to a first-person shooter with Cyberpunk.
There's a lot that was different about Cyberpunk that didn't work out for them.
Yeah.
I think they had a new, everything behind making Cyberpunk was new to them, from what I understand. Every aspect of it was new.
So
the engine was new to them. Everything was new, which obviously hurt. Witcher 4, I don't know what engine they're using.
Which makes me think, ask a very simple question too, and I think we've covered this before, but going back to Bethesda, I mean, look at what their main franchises are right now. You have Starfield, which is what they're pushing.
Should that be a franchise?
It is, though. I mean, Xbox has put themselves behind it. They want it to grow. They want it. They've added an expansion to it, so it's not like it's dead.
I mean,
they have Fallout and Elder Scrolls.
From what I've heard from the people that have played it, that are trying to explore in that game, it's pretty dead.
Yep,
that's the joke.
But once
the
again,
world is dead.
But once again, I'm going to turn and I'm going to say I'm going to take my last comment. You have games like Elder Scrolls and Fallout and Starfield.
It's all the same thing.
It's all the same thing, different skin, different way of playing a game. And then you get a game like Doom. Same company. They're the same company. So companies do certain games very well. And this is where I go back to CD Projekt Red.
Are you saying Bethesda does their games well? Because I could disagree. Those games are fucking... The combat in those games...
Bethesda does Doom well.
They do Doom well, but they don't even do... Like, Skyrim was great for the time, but now they're using the same shit in this generation.
And that's what I'm getting at.
That's the problem. That's what I'm getting at with Witcher 4.
Yeah.
You gotta change things.
But that's the thing. On that level,
you gotta
I
keep
think
it familiar, but you have to update and make things better.
think they're going to be on track with if they go third-party action for Witcher 4 compared to trying to make a first-person shooter.
Witcher 4 is going to be third person.
Absolutely. But you get what I'm saying with that. So, with that, what is it? There was a couple other games that I'm excited about, and we won't get into it because I know you don't want to talk about it. But I'm an Assassin's Creed guy, so you got Assassin's Creed Shadows, even though it got delayed to March 20th.
Oh, I love talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows. You just don't ever like what I have to say.
Yeah, I know. We're not in that type of episode, but I've been wanting to play an Assassin's Creed game in Japan. I don't care the characters that they're putting in there or whatever like that. It's an Assassin's Creed game in Japan. I don't care. You could be like, here's an American Marine that's coming through, and okay, cool. He's in Japan. It's an Assassin's Creed game. I'm playing it.
I played Assassin's Creed Japan it was called Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
I will say that every time that game's brought up.
Supposedly that game's coming out in 2025 also.
What game?
Ghost of Yotai.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's no Ghost of Yotai.
Yeah, there is. So, I don't think it's coming out in 2025, but Naughty Dog, Interstellar.
Yotai is listed as 2025.
Yeah, I think Interstellar is listed as 2025. That's the new Naughty Dog game, which has the 80s vaporware aesthetic to it. I'm all for it. All for it. Once again, you get to the point where you look at characters and how some characters are, and then you based a lot off of whether or not you're going to play that, which is fine. I get to the point where it's like, I look at what I think the concept of the game is, and I don't care who the characters are. I care less.
I look at a lot more than that. At this point, I look at who's behind the characters.
So, but once again, to me, once again, you and I are very much on the different realm of that thought process.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is for another topic and discussion at some point. With that, so I mean, those are like the ones that are kind of off the top of my head that are coming out in 2025. But I do want to go back to something about Xbox. So last year they released 4 games on PlayStation and on Nintendo that were their, exclusives. It seems that there's 2 games that we thought were going to be exclusive that are not, and that's Doom and Indiana Jones. The rumor has it is that they're remaking the Master Chief Collection, and that's going to be listed for Switch and for PlayStation. Would you play a Halo game on PlayStation?
I don't want to play a Halo game. I played Halo on Xbox back when I had Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Back when those games came out. I've already played those games. I don't want to.
But you wouldn't go through the whole thing, 1, 2, 3, 4,
no.
5?
I didn't love them that much.
Okay.
I'm not one of those Halo faithful. I enjoyed them, but I don't want to play them again. It's not like Mass Effect, where I re-download the Legendary Edition. I'm going to go through that whole fucking trilogy again.
Mm-hmm.
Halo does not the same.
You want to play Anthem again? So, no Anthem. So
you going to bring up old wounds?
Yeah.
You're going to talk about Brink next?
Yeah, we're going to call... Yeah, God. So anybody who doesn't know, God, Brink was... God, 15 years ago?
I'm still angry about that.
Yeah, God, I don't know. How long was Brink? Here, you talk to the audience. Let me look up.
How long was Brink? I don't know, because I never finished it, because it was shit.
No, I want to know when it was.
Oh, how long ago it came out?
Brink? Even if you pull up Brink, it doesn't even, like,
it came out.
Option. You got to put video game next to it.
What years were we roommates? It came out in that time. 2011? I think it was 2011.
It was 2011. I just looked. Yeah, it's right here. May 10th, 2011. Because remember what happened with that. Remember, I had to go away for my job. I was in Pennsylvania because I had to go to a meeting for like 4 days. and I was flying back that Friday. And you picked up. I was like, I got my pre-order. We knew the guy who worked at the GameStop that we picked it up. So I'm like, called him up. I'm like, hey, Ryan's gonna come pick up my game too, because technically they weren't allowed to give us the game. So, he don't work there. So Norm. So Norm gave you my copy, and I think you even put it in my PlayStation,
excited.
so it was ready for me to play. And I think you knew I was coming home from the airport, and you started my PlayStation. So
we were excited about that game. Like,
we
we
were
were pumped. Yeah.
And that fell through. Was that PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4? It was PlayStation 3.
Still lasted longer than Concord.
It did. It did. I think you can actually still play it on Steam.
Really?
It's $4.97. I'm not going to play it. No. So, God, that game had such high hopes.
I really had high hopes for that game.
Yeah.
I think that was my first major letdown in gaming. Like the first time I was hyped for a game that was out of my comfort zone. I was like, I'm going to try this because this looks great. And that happened. And it like jaded me from trying new experiences and new types of games forever.
Was it NBA 2K?
NBA 2K was my wheelhouse back then.
Back then.
I bought it every year.
That's what
That was the game I put between that and the Batman games. Those are the two games, NBA 2K and Batman, are what I put the most hours in.
That was the game that I wished, or not wished. That was the game that you and I would play for hours.
So we would just. Oh yeah, we on weekends sometimes we would just spend the entire weekend just getting wasted and playing NBA 2K.
Yeah, really. But in the morning, because we wouldn't drink in the morning, I would usually make a pot of coffee. And remember, I would like drink the whole pot of coffee and I'd be wired.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
But no, we would, what is it? Our whole thing was, I was point guard? No, I was not point guard. I was shooting guard.
You were shooting guard. I was in control of the offense.
You'd come away with like,
for a reason.
Yeah, you'd come away with like 40 or 50 assists. And I'd have like 102 points.
Yes, because how hopped up you were on coffee reflected your in-game character, and you would just be bouncing around the screen, which is why I had to control the offense.
Yes, you had to control the offense, but
I was just better at the ball handling in the game than you.
And it was funny because like all the stats would be our name, and then everybody else would be zeros.
For anyone curious, back NBA 2K was a little different. You didn't have my player. You didn't have to like pay your way, or it was a lot different. You could basically just create a character, shoot all the ratings up to 99, do like a fantasy draft for a mock season.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Dan would end up on it, make sure we ended up on the same team. We didn't care who our teammates were or what team it was, and then we would just smash through everything.
I think the funniest part about
the scores of the game would be like 120 to 50.
Yeah, I think the funniest part about that,
it was just fun. We weren't in it to be competitive. We were just in it to have fun.
The funniest part about that was that if any of the other teammates on our team scored, we'd bench them.
No, if they shot the ball.
Yeah, if they shot the ball.
If I pressed X, that was the button to tell the computer control team is, because we would only control our characters. Mm-hmm. That's the only ones we would control. If I hit X and the computer didn't respond and give me the ball, benched.
Yep.
I was also the coach.
So, okay. So going.
I didn't let you do much but shoot because you were wired.
I was.
You would go from wired to hammered.
Yeah.
I was just steadily hammered.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. It's amazing what I was able to do in that game while drunk.
Yeah.
God. And we didn't play on an easy difficulty either.
No, we did not. No, it was. God, that was fun times.
That we had a lot of fun playing. What was that? Like horror first-person shooter game. Killzone, was it? Or something? What was it? No, not Killzone. It was like a first-person shooter, but it had like horror elements to it. You convinced me to play it. I remember we used to have a lot of fun with that too. Can't remember the name of it because I never.
Daylight.
No, this was back when we were roommates.
Oh yeah, because we played it online. What was the? I don't know. I don't remember.
There was like this creepy little girl. She was a big part.
Oh, Fear.
Yeah, that was it.
First Encounter Assault Recon.
Yeah, I remember we had a lot of fun playing that one too.
We did.
That and Mortal Kombat.
Because you were the ghost and I was the guy.
That and we had a lot of fun with with having other people over. Again, alcohol was involved. All playing Mortal Kombat 10, I think it was at the time with Freddy Krueger.
Yep.
I remember my cousin. He was on the show, the old version of the show. Phil. He used to kick the shit out of all of us in that game until I played as Freddy Krueger, and everyone would get mad because every 5 seconds you'd hear me going, "Tell him Freddy sent you," and I'd be smashing the shit out of them.
Yeah, I think we put you outside. So
Phil got benched a lot from that game because he was just too good.
Yeah, he did. But no, go. So I mean, that's really kind of the preview, but of the games coming up.
We got distracted.
We did get distracted, but it's good. But the one game that we wanted,
2025 has a lot of games that a lot of people are looking forward to.
Yeah, and I cannot wait. So
I can,
but there's one game
I cannot emphasize my disappointment that Jin Sakai is that I'm not getting my Ghost of Tsushima 2. Instead, I'm getting that. You know, and long I was looking forward to Ghost of Tsushima 2.
Yeah, I know. I still think. But the one game that I
is she going to beat them to death with her guitar?
I don't even know where to start with you. But you see, this is where I gotta get the sound effects back too. So, because whatever. But the one game that
verify, I have no problem.
You know, this is like the third time I tried to get into this game.
because I know a comment section. Go to verify. I have no problem that Ghost of Yotai's main protagonist is a woman. I don't care. I'm just mad that it's not Jin Sakai.
Yeah, I get it.
If the main character of the first Ghost of Tsushima was her, and I fell in love with the game, and then she wasn't the main character in the second, I'd have the same reaction.
No, you were wondering about how you're going to swing a sword with a guitar to your back.
It just aesthetically, it doesn't make sense. How are you going to you can roll in Ghost of Tsushima. She's going to bust her shit rolling with a guitar on her back.
But with the tangent to that and talking about weapons and all of that, the one game that you are looking at, you have no problem with the aesthetics and these big ass weapons that are going to be in it. And I'm still floored that you're even interested in playing this game. And that's Monster Hunter Wilds.
I need something.
I know you need something. But I mean, you played the beta, Monster Hunter Wilds. That's coming out in literally a week. Or I'm sorry, a month and like 2 weeks.
The beta was my first time ever touching Monster Hunter.
I know.
Fun.
I
played World Sense.
Yeah.
Not all of it. I dabbled in it just to get used to certain mechanics so I could prepare for Wilds.
So right now, Monster Hunter Worlds is slated for February 28th?
Last day of February, yep.
Last day of February. So it's a Friday.
Happy birthday to me, my birthday month. I get Wilds. Yay.
So anybody who doesn't really know, and probably if you're listening to this, you do know, but Monster Hunter has always been very big in Japan. It's had a following in the United States, but I mean, it people go absolutely insane for it in Japan. And that's really where I think a lot of this series.
Thank you, Japan.
Yeah. I think a lot of the series has kind of kept afloat because of it. And not that I ever thought that the series was ever going to go away. I think the series is very strong. It would have never
gone away. You just didn't expect it to become what it has in America.
Yeah, I mean, considering that it started in America on the PlayStation Portable.
It was a handheld. I looked up the history. It started off as a fucking handheld game.
Yeah. And literally anybody who doesn't know about it is you are a hunter. You go out and you hunt monsters. You carve them up. And then you make better armor and weapons. And you go hunt more monsters. And the trick with this and the infinite play loop to this is that if you want, it's different parts of armor, different parts for
different weapons, different armor,
all of that. But you might have to hunt the same monster 20 times to get the parts that you need, or 50 times, or
which
whatever
is not
it is.
that big a deal. It sounds like people are like, oh, that sounds like a lot of grinding. Once you get used to hunting a certain monster, you become real fucking efficient at killing that thing.
But that's the thing, though, is that it is a grind. The game is. I'm going to teach you how to grind in a game. This is a grinding game.
But my counterpoint I'm making is once you kill a monster enough times, you get pretty fucking efficient. So the grind part of like the slog of killing a monster, you end up killing that fucker pretty quickly.
You do. Because you learn the patterns and all of that. And then from there, and the way that this does it doesn't get too, boring or whatever like that, you then have different ranks. So you have low rank, high rank, G rank, all of that. So
once you think the game gets too easy, spice it up a little bit,
and then
realize you made a mistake and go back and farm.
Yeah, go back and farm. I mean, there are people that if you look on there, I mean, just friends that we have that have put 500, 600, 700 hours into one version of this game.
I just downloaded World this year. I don't know how.
Yeah,
I don't have that many hours.
But our one mutual friend that that we have that's been on the episode or on the podcast a couple of times. I mean, that's his game. That's his franchise. My franchise is Assassin's Creed. His franchise is, he's got two of them.
I'm now looking
Destiny
for
and Monster Hunter. But I mean, he puts hours into this game, into these games. Another mutual friend, same thing. So we're very much looking forward to that. So just with you, what are you looking to? So there's 16 different weapons? Or it's 14 or 16. I think
we've already
16.
had this conversation. You just want to have it for the audience. We already know what my weapon is.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, what are you?
The
what are you
insect
going to main?
glaive.
The insect glaive.
That's what I'm to main. The insect glaive. I love it. I like mobility, and that it's a little more complicated to use than the other weapons. I think.
Okay.
I know the greatsword is the most popular, but as I said, I'm not knocking the greatsword. The greatsword users, I want to start a weapon war, but like the greatsword for me, it's based all around hitting one specific move, and that's not for me. I like mobility. I like to be able to move around. So I try all the ones I tried. 3 clicked with me. The dual blades, or what are they actually called?
They're dual blades.
Dual blades. Hammer time.
Yep.
Fucking love
the hammer.
There's very few things more satisfying than just smashing a fucking monster in the head with a hammer.
And then knocking it out. Like, see, that's the fun part, is that you knock it out.
And then that's why I like that you use the hammer, because it's going to go well with the insect glaive, because my main will be the insect glaive. And I just feel the insect glaive is more versatile, and it allows me to get away from a lot more damage.
See,
it has this attack where you go up in the air and you point the blade directly down, and you can slam it into the monster's head, which is great for when someone with a hammer knocks them the fuck out.
Yep, exactly. So I started out with dual blades. And then I got into charge axe, and then I did hammer. So I've never really ever been a ranged person. So I'm really kind of going back and forth whether or not I want to use bow or if I want to use heavy bow gun.
Well, see, in Wilds, you have the advantage of trying both whenever you want, because you get a second main. You can go to your mount and switch the weapon out in mid-fight. So you'll have the advantage of having a bow gun and a hammer, which you took advantage of real well in the beta.
Yep, I did.
You had a great system of using that bow gun to weaken them, and as soon as you felt they were ready, hammer time.
Oh, yeah, I just started bopping them with the hammer.
And then I would switch from my glaive to the bow gun while you were up close.
Wait. Did I just use the phrase bop?
I was moving past that.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
I was ignoring
that. Though I do have one question, and I'm putting you on the spot here. Okay.
I'm going to do a
We're looking at streaming. Are we going to have hunt nights?
Yeah.
Online. Okay. Well, okay. That was easy.
Yeah. And people will get to hear me talk, which.
Yeah. Are you going to be on camera?
On camera? Probably not. Okay. They'll be able to hear me, though.
Okay.
Because, it'll be.
You're on camera now.
Well, I'm saying for hunt nights, like some hunt nights might be random where I'm not here.
That's true.
And I'm not going to go through setting up a camera, but you'll be able to hear me.
Yeah.
And
what I should do is I should put, when you do come over, I should put like a camera up in the corner so they just kind of look at us while we're playing. Instead of like our faces, they can look down.
So they can see when I feel I have an itch and I scratch my balls.
Good. Why not?
That's what they're watching us for at that point.
Are you getting the higher up edition, or are you just getting the base edition?
The higher up edition?
I don't know if it's called deluxe or collectors or whatever it's called.
The higher up edition.
The higher up edition.
Well, as I told you, I don't even know if I'm going to pre-order or if I'm going to wait a little bit to play, because I'm so jaded from other games coming out. Like I'm hesitant, man. It's like, I
can almost guarantee you, because Capcom does something very, very, very smart.
You said the same thing about CD Projekt Red.
True. Capcom has proven it.
You said the same thing about CD Projekt Red.
Capcom Monster Hunter releases have always gone fairly smooth. They really have. I mean, their biggest one was Worlds, or Monster Hunter World, and I don't remember any problems with that. None. I remember us getting in and just playing.
If I pre-order this game and I go to play it on night 1, and it had its issues, bad issues, like games that have jaded me have had in the past, I'm going to kick you in the nuts.
I think you're just looking for a way to touch me in the nuts.
I'm going to wear steel-toe boots and kick you in the nuts.
Please don't. But no, I think we're very much looking forward to
dancing on that, by the way.
Wrong type of show. Wrong type of video. No, we're very much looking forward into that.
I didn't see any of the YouTube no words.
Yeah, I know. hate you. What is it? God, you made me lose my train of thought. No, I feel that there's something different with this one too. I think
with
that
Wilds.
With Wilds.
What do you? Okay, I'm going to stop. You're usually the one in control, throwing the questions back and forth. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to pose you a question. What about Wilds, as a guy who's played, I don't know how many other Monster Hunter games before?
A lot.
What about this makes it feel different to you, other than the more open world, like you could just jump on the mountain go aspect? What else about it makes it feel different?
Two things. One, the production value has skyrocketed.
Well, obviously, new technology,
I mean, just there's
okay. So let's take away the obvious ones, like obviously technology's been better and the open world mount aspect. What about it specifically makes it feel like it's going to be vastly different in a good way?
They're making the connectivity between people in this game seamless without forcing you into mechanics you don't want to do. Okay, so and I'll explain that. So one thing is that this is a very much you can play solo or you can hunt with other people. Okay, the problem when it comes to some of these games, these live service games, and I'm not even going to call it a live service game because it's not.
You're games that offer co-op,
correct,
or any form of multiplayer.
Games that offer co-op.
Monster Hunter, it's not a live service.
No, it's not.
It has updates.
Yeah.
But it's not a live
No,
service.
It's not a live service. To me, live service is
you don't have to always be online to play Monster Hunter.
Correct. It's good that you can, and that's the thing that and I know that you're one of the people that if you can play the game by yourself, that's your comfort zone. That I mean, not that you wouldn't play with other people, but you like to be able to control what you're doing without the influence of other people.
I don't like to feel rushed.
Let's face it, other people are assholes.
Well, no, even people that aren't assholes. For example, I'll use my best example I can give is Elden Ring. First time I played it, I jumped in with you and Chris. And you guys were like directing traffic. Like, okay, we're going to go here and immediately like to fight this boss. And I was like overwhelmed and there's too much and I could barely do damage to the boss. You guys basically had to kill it for me and I was moving. I ended up deleting that save and starting my own and I played that whole fucking game by myself.
Yeah.
Explored every corner of that map, went at my own pace and had a way better time.
And that's what Monster Hunter's bread and butter is.
Well, that's what I don't like about co-op a lot is you feel like you're rushed.
But that's what Monster Hunter's bread and butter is. Monster Hunter lets you learn the game at your pace. There is a learning curve from management to builds to how you face monsters to the monsters that you want to do. You're not forced into one monster at one point unless it's certain type of urgent quests.
I'll counter that. I have been playing World in the exact way I described by myself. At my own pace, starting from scratch. I didn't take advantage of the Iceborne armor and weapons they gave you. I started from scratch, like every other monster, to work to learn those basic mechanics. I don't know if Wilds will be different, but there are certain points in the game where certain monsters seem like they show up less. They're less likely to show up, or they stop showing up at all because they're replaced by new, more difficult monsters. And unless you have specific quests for them saved into your board, but you might not run into them again. But that might change in Wilds with new technology because they might be able to have more monsters. But that's the thing is, instead of like 3 or 4 at a time.
If you start to go further into Worlds, what you'll find out is that every monster and every quest that you've done, you can repeat that at any point. So you can fight if you wanted to just go after,
that
Diablos.
That stupid little thing that cracks the eggs open and eats it.
The Pookie Pookie or whatever.
They brought in from Final Fantasy, I think.
No. It's always been
not the Pookie Pookie, the poison bird. I'm talking about the bird with the big beak that steals eggs and eats eggs.
Yeah, no, that's always been Monster Hunter. That's not
always,
Final.
I thought that was a Final Fantasy thing.
No.
No, Final Fantasy was the Fatalis, right?
Yeah, the Fatalis. Yeah. So
that was the big demon fucking. Final Fantasy was the big fucking demon thing. That in Monster Hunter World, there was a gigantic demon monster that I specifically remember.
I think there's influences, but there's never been a like, hey, this is from Final Fantasy.
No, I think there was one in World. It was this giant, like muscle bound, yoked out demon looking fucking thing.
I don't remember
that. The first time I saw it, I said, I want to solo that.
But that's the thing. Like, just exactly what you said. You can go about playing this game exactly how you want to play it.
I've learned that.
If you want to play it with people, you can. You want to play it solo, you can. You get to the point in solo where you're like, son of a bitch, I cannot beat this guy. I need a little bit of help. You can throw up a flare. People can jump into your one fight there, be done, and then they're gone. You don't have to deal with them anymore. They don't message you. You don't message them. But the community, and then that's
well, I've heard a lot of good things about the Monster Hunter community.
And then that's the last part about it, is that with that, so you learn at your pace. There's no PvP in this game. Your guy cannot kill you. Another guy cannot kill you. There's nothing.
It's not Helldivers.
No, it's not.
Which the chaos in Helldivers is fun.
Yeah, it is. But with Monster Hunter, it literally is, hey, let's get a group of friends. Let's go hunt some monsters. Or if you want to do it by yourself. And then if you do, and you want to do that, the community is amazing because the community looks at it and says, we're on the same exact reasoning that you're on this hunt.
Or
we want to beat this monster.
You get 3 other players. There's 4 monsters on the map. You can all go, all right, which one do you want to kill? I'm going to go kill this one. You go kill that one. You go kill that one.
Exactly.
You go kill that one.
Or there's 2 monsters. 2 people can go. Like, you don't even have to talk to the people. Good monster, just good hunters know what you're trying to do and will assist in the best way that they can to help you out.
I'll never find
period.
That out.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that
Dan's dog is losing her mind.
Losing her mind. So
there's somebody walking.
Okay.
She's doing her job. She's protecting the house.
She was. So
from the squirrel outside.
From the squirrel. But no, the community there, you will not find a toxic community member. Or if you do, it's insanely rare. Because everybody in the Monster Hunter community is literally there for the same reasons. And that is to hunt the monster that you're hunting.
I just want to kill something.
Everybody gets goals. Everybody has the same goal. Everybody wants to kill the monster, carve it up, make new stuff, and go hunt more monsters.
So basically what you're saying, everyone in the Monster Hunter community has the same mindset I had when I played the Division 2. I got to a certain point in the Division 2 where I was so dominant that I would literally I would wait for people to call out for help and just answer. So just help them complete shit.
So
I wouldn't say a fucking word to them. I would just go through, help them complete it, and then dip.
So then to loop back to what your question is, why do I feel that this is it?
Yeah,
because World gave the world a taste on a console level main game that was never a port. All the other games that were ported to consoles were ports from portables. This was Worlds was a game that started on consoles. Rise, I think, so you had Worlds and you had Rise and now you have Wild. Rise, I think, expanded on some things and fixed some things from Worlds, and now Wilds is looking at and saying, we have the best production value that we've had. We have powerful systems that we can actually put this game on. We now have cross-play between each other, and we have a community that loves to help each other.
You have a community, and the community and you have a community that is completely loves Rise and a community that completely loves World. You can take everything from both games that people love and do this.
And then on top of that, and I think that this goes
the best they can, obviously,
the best they can.
Seamless.
And I think that and this is a trend that I hope more games starting out, or more games are going to start to adopt. It does not matter where you're playing. You can play on the system that you want to play on with your friends on the system they want to play on, and it's all integrated. What better way than that?
And you don't have to create a Capcom membership to play on a certain system.
And on top of that, let me know when you end Monster Hunter, because the game doesn't end. You literally just keep hunting and hunting, because there's always stuff to do. Yeah.
You know how far from realizing I diverged from the story. Like I got to a certain point where I realized I haven't done anything in the story because I've just been doing random hunts.
And then
from my board, like I'd go to the guy. It would say I unlocked like a hunt to kill this thing this way in 30 minutes. I got so distracted just doing. Do you have any idea how many materials I have from fucking Pookies at this point?
Oh yeah, exactly.
But and then I got to a point where I realized I was like, I haven't advanced the story at all.
Now on a personal level, okay, we started. So, a group of our friends used to get together, and this was when I was living down. So I was living down south. I was living about an hour and a half down south from all of the friends. I ended up having to move away, and you know this. That's why we had to stop being.
When we were roommates, you had to move to St. Louis or some shit.
I'd moved to Detroit, and then I moved to St. Louis. So there was not time. So there was a lot of times that we played online. So then when I ended up moving back to Illinois, I was down a half an hour or an hour and a half south from everybody. So what we did was we were like, we like playing this game. Now we're going to get together. We actually sat, old LAN party type sort of thing, started playing Monster Hunter. But the difference with that is that we all had to get it on the same system. Okay. I've been a PlayStation guy. Buddies have been Xbox guys. There's always been, some people have been PC guys. So there's always been kind of like, okay, what are we playing on? And do we, this is, so Monster Hunter, but it always drove us together. Like when we would play,
what did you call it? Monster Hunter Mondays or some shit like that?
We had Monster Hunter Mondays with Chris, and then we actually called ourselves the Hunters Council. Like we literally had shirts made up. My wife made beer mugs with our weapon and our gamer tags on it. And we would have these. I mean, right up here. Let's see if I can't grab it. The Monster Hunter mug. So, but what we would do is this now on a personal level, I go back to it. It's a game that I think is finally embracing that we are in a video game world where unless you're making exclusive single player, if you're going to have a multiplayer element that's not an exclusive to your console, you need to make it cross-platform. Period. And I think that most of the games now are going to be multi-platform. They have to be. They have to be cross-play. That's what I mean, not multi-platform, but cross-play. You have to be able to play, and the technology is there. There's no reason why it shouldn't happen.
Well, it's just good for the longevity of games if you can play.
But there's no reason. The only reason that, and I'll say this, the only reason, and Sony is one of the biggest culprits of this, the only reason that you don't put it as a cross-platform is absolute company greed. We want you on our console and nobody else. We want our logo to pop up on your screen instead of the other people's logo. When who gives a shit? Who gives a flying shit?
They do.
Where
they
you
want
play
you to buy their console.
But now, wouldn't you rather sell the game and have more people playing than pigeonholing people to a console buy? Considering that consoles are not $300 and $400 now, they're getting into the $500 and $600 and $700.
Well, especially considering with that mindset, you can be like, "Yeah, well, you have to buy my console to play it," and they're going, and people like me with.
Nope, I won't.
You brought up Fable, for example. Ryan, you like Fable. Are you going to get the new Fable? I don't want to buy an Xbox for the game.
Yeah.
I got nothing against Xbox. I just don't want to buy a system for one game.
But on the other end of that too, if they come out and let's just say, Xbox comes out and says, "Hey, by the way, Fable's going to come out on PlayStation 5." I'm not saying that you'll buy it, but would you maybe look at it? Or would there be games out there that you would look at that possibly would have been Xbox games, and vice versa, PlayStation 2?
Xbox doesn't really have a lot of exclusive.
But I mean, you get what I'm saying though, is that if there's a game that was intriguing or whatever, you would look at it and you'd say, okay, maybe.
Well, yeah, if something caught my attention and they said, "Hey, by the way, it also comes out on PlayStation," I'd be like,
yeah,
like any other game, like like people make a bigger deal out of it than I do. Like, it's exclusive. It's not. If it's a game that grabs my attention, I'm gonna look at it.
And then on the other end of that too, is that it's going to stop like the toxicity in video games right now. Like why in 2025 are we still having the stupid fucking argument of, "Oh, what's better, Xbox or PlayStation?" The system's almost virtually the same. They really are.
One's a square.
Yeah,
rectangle.
One's a rectangle, and one looks like a really fucked up router. Like that's really the only difference. Like that's really the only difference. Okay.
No, I'm not gonna be able to unsee that now.
Yeah. So one's
router.
a refrigerator and one's a fucked up router. Like it's
now,
stupid.
If Xbox wants to get my attention, they will make a console that is also a refrigerator.
Yeah. You can buy the refrigerator. It looks like it.
No, I'm talking about a working console that's also a refrigerator. Now you got to purchase.
True. But that's what I'm saying is that we're in 2025 and there's so many things, and this sounds soapboxy, but there's so many things out there.
You're exploding about it, but the console war thing that's not as big a deal anymore as you think it is. Like a lot of people think like you and me, where they're like, I don't give a fuck.
I get that, but there's enough people out there it's a
minority
to put toxicity into the gaming environment.
It's a small minority,
and there's no reason for it.
The most toxicity is
it might be a small portion of people, but it makes a big statement, and we don't need it anymore. We don't need the name calling. We don't need the hatred. We don't need the slurs at people and all of that.
Some people deserve it.
but you know what I'm saying?
You ever play Call of Duty? There's some people that deserve it.
But what I'm saying is that on that end, there's no reason.
Basically, all these toxic people you're talking about, if you want to know where they are, play Call of Duty.
Not really.
There's a lot of assholes in Call of Duty.
There are a lot of assholes in Call of Duty. But what I'm saying is that anybody who
think that their kill count matters.
Yeah.
Okay. Congratulations.
But what I'm saying is that somebody coming over and saying you're a piece of shit because you play on PlayStation, or you're a piece of shit because you play on Xbox.
Specific at first. You were just using toxicity as a broad term.
But that's what I'm saying is that like, oh, you call Xbots or phonies or whatever. Like, why are we name calling? What literally? Why are we name calling?
The only people that should be doing that are people that work for Microsoft and Sony.
Yeah, like
because they have a stake in it.
Because
now they have a dog in the fight. But if you're you or me, and you just happen to buy a system, and like you don't have stake in the company, and like a lot of money invested in the company, or your job isn't on the line,
and that's the thing. A lot of these people out there that are chirping about what's better, PlayStation or Xbox, and blah blah blah. They don't have any stake in the company. They don't.
That's why I look at it as a joke.
But that's where we look at it as a joke. But there are people out there that really, for some reason, take this seriously.
I will admit I'm guilty about one thing. When an Xbox guy comes at me about owning a PlayStation, I'm not like a fanboy or anything, but I will make my bullet points just to watch their head spin.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just. So I think the things that we can do less about.
The less things
dividing and more pulling together, the better we'll be.
I'll help you out with this. And over time, it's been happening. The less factors that separate the consoles there are, the less that's going to be apparent.
Correct.
The only one that's always going to be separate is PC, and that's just because they have so much more opportunity for technology because they can constantly upgrade their shit. A console is meant for people who just don't want to take the time to do that.
And with a $700 PlayStation Pro,
but no PC, I'm not saying you're better.
No. But what I'm saying is that we are going to get to the point where if Xbox and PlayStation are looking to make, and even to the point Nintendo are looking to make more powerful consoles, you are very much getting to that threshold of, do I buy a console that caps me out at 120 frames a second, or do I spend a little bit more money and buy a PC that I'm uncapped on frames?
I'll buy a console because I don't constantly have to worry about having the right graphics, blah, all that shit. I don't want to worry about all that. That's the people who buy consoles.
Correct. But if it gets to the point where right now, PCs are dummy proof. You don't have to worry about that. You hit literally a button, it optimizes to your graphics card, you're on your way. Done. It literally does it before you even realize it happened. You literally downloads, play, game optimizes, you're on your way, you're playing. Done.
I like my PlayStation.
I know you do. But what I'm saying is that it's going to get to that point where that threshold, that line for some people is like, why am I going to buy a console when I can just buy a PC that's more powerful? On paper. So
console ain't going anywhere, man.
Oh, I think
because a shit ton of people like me exist for like, I'm not doing all that.
Which could be a very interesting discussion later. So
people like me are always going to exist. Yep. So it's like a console, just buy it, play the game.
Yep. But with that, we are going to call it an episode because we are over an hour now.
What was this episode even about?
Monster Hunter Wilds and previewing games. It was about video games and coming together. No.
Coming together with who?
We're gonna outro with Aerosmith or the Beatles playing.
Aerosmith.
Aerosmith redid come together.
You're going to use Aerosmith's version over the Beatles. That's
Probably
like
not.
saying we're going to do Devil Went Down to Georgia, but we're going to play the Nickelback version.
And with that, we're out. So, once again, thank you for listening.
I've been
to
out
us.
for a while. I burst those closet doors open.
I know you do. But thank you again for watching. Please subscribe. Love to hear your comments. Hopefully, you see us on our stream. We'll send all that stuff out. But take care of yourself, and we'll see you next time. You just wink.
I did.